Hello. I am sitting on top of some post. I don't even know if that shows how high up I am. Oh, there's my bike. I guess I'm only like maybe 8 feet off the ground. Maybe a little more. I don't know. But it's really fun. I feel like a kid. Alright, well, don't forget to climb things if you feel able. I just want to say, there's no reason I need to say this. You probably already know this, but today is the youngest you'll ever be again. So if you're lost in your mind wishing you were younger or wishing you could go back and change some experience, A, you can't, so that's a waste of your now by obsessing about that. So like you literally can't change it. The only thing you can ever do that can give you that feeling of freedom that you had before that experience that maybe you didn't love or value, the only way to get that feeling of freedom. What you're missing is not, like, we all make mistakes and we all can say that, but like if you're feeling like there's something in the past that you wish you could go back and change, A, you're giving up your now by obsessing with that, but B, you're missing the feeling of pre that experience. So say you were in an abusive situation like I was, or say you made a really big mistake and you really hurt somebody and now the ghosts of that just haunt you. When you want to go back to that time and do it differently, I'm not saying this to be heartless, but I don't believe we're all self-centered in a negative way. I believe we're just all stuck inside ourselves. And so if you want to go back in time and fix that, A, you can't, but B, you can. But what I mean is you can do forgiveness work, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. You can go back to those moments in your mind, sometimes even in your feet. You know, I've gone back to places where my exes lived, or where I was almost proposed to by somebody that, was not a good situation for him or I. I've gone back to places and I've grieved, or I've forgiven, or I've done both, because it's usually both. I've grieved, I've forgiven them, I've forgiven myself. I've allowed whatever needed to flow in me that got blocked, I've allowed it to flow again. And so I don't think, in other words, so this is like a two-part point. One is those feelings are real. Like if you feel sort of trapped in guilt or in shame or in sadness that your life has gone the way it's gone, which I've felt all of those feelings deeply, deeply, so intensely that I thought my life was over and pointless at different points for different reasons. And if you've felt those feelings, like, it's likely, or if you're currently feeling those feelings, it's likely that you feel there's no solution to them, because there hasn't been one yet. Because when you're trapped in those kinds of feelings, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a solution. I'm not wearing my helmet because I'm afraid of falling. Well, I've considered taking it off and putting my cute rainbow hat back on, but then I was like, or I could not have an ironic moment happen where right after I take my helmet off, I fall off this post. Just kidding. Sort of just kidding. It's a little bit how I think. Why not be cautious, right? When you've had as many problems as I've had in my life. I mean, I'm not going to list them all for you, but it's way over a decade's worth of stuff. And it's bad. It's heavy stuff. I only started being like how I am right now in the last 3-ish years. Maybe 4 now. And before that, I was terrified of everything and everyone, and I had lots of secret thoughts and feelings that made me feel blocked and sad all the time. And even though I was writing songs constantly. Not saying that this is the goal. Not saying that at all. Just saying that we are clay. We're more pliable and malleable than we think we are. And maybe not everyone is. Maybe it's just me and people like me. But I suspect that everyone somewhat is. Because if you think of what a relationship is, and I mean that as friendships, family dynamics, anything. If you think of what a relationship is, A, we can only control and change ourselves, right? We can't change other people. You can preach at people. It doesn't do anything. Don't do that. I mean, you could, but it's a waste of your life. But changing yourself, again, not self-centered, not narcissistic, not any of those things, because every single relationship in your life has a common denominator, and that common denominator is you. So every relationship you are experiencing, every opinion you have of every person you know, you are only experiencing them through the lens of you. So if you are only going to experience people through the lens of you, wouldn't it be in your best interest to work on you? Like work on your resentments, work on forgiving people, work on letting feelings go, work on healing your own heart or your own like broken gut instincts. If you feel really pinballed by people like I always did, I had to work on my gut instincts. I had to work on listening to what does my gut tell me to do and then just do it. And that part of me was hardcore broken, partly from the educational system, because we're not trained to, we're almost just not allowed to follow our gut for most of our childhoods. I'm going to take a risk. I could put my hat on, or I could just be free. Let's be free. All right. And they say, I mean, and I know some of this is kind of like chakra talk, but I'm not versed in that. I don't know very much. I barely know any yoga. But I understand how all these systems fit together. I also, you know, I was raised Christian, but I don't know a whole ton of that. Like, I know pieces of things. I know more of that than other things, but still. But it fits together. It really does. You know, rather than be at war with each other, it's kind of interesting if we instead see the ways things correlate and see the ways everything intersects and feeds each other. I was going to say feeds off, on, all of it feeds it. Everything feeds everything. And, you know, rather than be afraid of other systems, look at the ways those systems maybe have something to teach you and correlate with the things you're trying to, you know, if Jesus said like follow your heart or allow God in your heart, like your heart is also called like the fourth chakra, and like a lot of people are probably walking around with really blocked hearts because we're not. I've been watching this guru a little bit, and like he's really helpful with this idea. Like I think most humans don't know how to work with their own, I mean he calls it like a supercomputer, your own body. I refer most often to this therapist that taught me something when I was in my early 20s. Hello. Nice work. He lifted his bike over that fence. Anyway. This therapist when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, because the best thing any therapist probably has ever taught me. And she said, you know, she could tell probably that I had physical trauma. And she was like, she probably could tell I felt very separated from my body. I was all in my head, which I still can be sometimes, but I'm much better at being in my body now. And if that sounds froofy and weird to you, like, I know we're all always in our body, but you can live a life experience where you're not in touch with yourself or your body. You could, like, never want hugs or not feel comfortable around certain people but not know why. And a lot of that is just how they make you feel, like, in your skin. Or you just might have other illnesses or disorders that make you kind of out of touch with your own body. And I'm not saying, like, let's all go hug ourselves every day. Although that probably would help. Hug trees or hug ourselves. Anyway, point being, this therapist taught me this technique that basically says, take a hand. I've said this before, but it's probably been over a year since I've said this in a video, so you'll never find it. I mean, you can try. Good luck. But take a hand and put it on the body part that feels like kind of like intense right now. So for me, it often was like my heart. Sometimes it was my gut. A lot of times it was my throat. I feel like it was squeezing. Sometimes it was headaches. I didn't get as many headaches when I was younger. A lot of my issues were lower. And if you believe in chakras, that's the lower chakras. Mine were, my whole body has been completely out of whack most of my life. And I think sometimes what causes that is, and I was one of those kids who got all A's and teachers loved me. And so I'm not trying to 100% criticize the educational system. I'm glad that I know a lot of the things that I know. I've also decided recently that I'm going to be excited about aging. Like, rather than do the thing that I literally see in all marketing, like I'm starting to get little lines, and I'm supposed to, by marketing, because they want me to buy their products, I'm supposed to feel really bad about that. But like, why would I feel bad about that? Like, I'm alive. And I was just biking near, well, anyway. Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I was by a cemetery. This is woods, but over that way there's a cemetery, and it's so weird. Like, why do I feel shame about that? Like, I went in for a minute and I biked a little bit, and then I walked reverently, and I actually prayed for 2 men that I saw who were standing there. So why do I feel guilty like I just enjoyed myself for 5 minutes in a cemetery? I know that's questionable. I went in it meaning to kind of go through it, and then I went the wrong way. Ended up in a little loop. Paused. Prayed for people. Both passed on, and the 2 men that I saw there. Tried to kind of pray and focus on what they needed, not what I thought they might need. I'm very weird in how I sense people's feelings, and I don't know if it's ever accurate, but I go with it anyway. I suppose that's kind of like how healers feel, or Reiki masters, or shamans or something. Like, I can feel or sense. I sense that people need certain things. So yeah, just pray for a couple people. I'm laughing because I'm so embarrassed that I'm telling you this. Anyway, cemeteries? Why was I talking about this? So anyway, I prayed for a couple people. Tried to sense what they needed. Tried to just be very present. And then I left the cemetery and came back out through the woods, and now I'm sitting on a post. Grand Haven is one of my favorite places I've ever lived because it is it's hard to describe. It's so many different things. Like, this is an entire like woods forest right in the middle of downtown. And then right over there, less than a mile, is the Lake Michigan beach, which is vast and gorgeous and has a state park right on it. And right that way, like 1 block, is a very residential neighborhood that's like super cute. And then that way 6 blocks. I always say 6 blocks, but I mean it's however many blocks. It's like a little downtown, like a tourist shops kind of downtown. Anyway. Woo! Giant spider. Sorry, buddy. Can't hang out with me. I guess I'm on his post. That's a little ironic because I left the bench I had wanted to sit at to get away from spiders, and now there was just this giant daddy long legs right next to me. I didn't even freak out. I showed you him. I mean, I did flick him down there. Oh, come on, go away. Okay, maybe I gotta get down. He's trying to come after me. I don't want to fall off this thing. Now you're seeing my fear. Well, okay, buddy, I'll leave. I was gonna write a ukulele song up here. I could just defend my post. But this is really his land. I don't live here. You do. I'll get down. Why am I taking you with me while I try to climb down off a post? Goodbye.